No longer was the evil one restrained from the full exercise of his perverted will. All that he had striven to do surreptitiously could henceforth be done in broad daylight. Beguilement of individuals could escalate to wholesale deception of nations. Now when the 1,000 years have expired, wrote St. John, Satan will be released from his prison and will go out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle. The dragon was free at last, but having great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time. He has only a little while to bring the world to a fever pitch of apostasy, degradation, and violence through the person of Antichrist. As Archbishop Averki wrote, by the loosing of Satan out of his prison is to be understood the appearance of Antichrist before the end of the world. The liberated Satan will strive in the person of Antichrist to deceive all the nations of the earth. Although Satan will ultimately deceive the entire world, he is particularly vengeful toward his first victims, Gog and Magog. These are the ancient tribes which flourished in the land we now call Russia. It is no surprise that the country which had both bound Satan and borne the Christian empire to its end would be the first to suffer his demonic wrath. Blessed Augustine also points out that these tribal names suggest that Satan is reclaiming his house in which he was bound so long. The meaning of these names we find to be Gog, a roof, Magog, from a roof, a house, as it were, and he who comes out of the house. They are therefore the nations in which we found that the devil was shut up as in an abyss, and the devil himself coming out from them and going forth. Loving death, Satan has lost no time in gathering the nations together to battle. Since the destruction of the monarchy, the world has suffered evil of such monstrous proportions that nothing in previous history compares to it. Daniel's prediction of a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that time has begun to come true with a vengeance. One generation has seen 2 world wars, innumerable and continuous smaller conflagrations, annihilation of entire cities with atomic bombs, mass murders of millions, Nazism, fascism, communism, virulent epidemics, and worldwide falling away from the faith. It is more than evident that, as Father Michael Askell writes, the fall of the Christian Roman Empire has wrought everywhere the collapse of civil and ecclesiastical order. The experience of Russia since 1917 illustrates in microcosm what the last days will bring to the entire world. We can clearly see, wrote monk Zachariah Liebman, that since the removal of he who restraineth the power of Satan is no longer held back, we stand as horrified witnesses to the unleashing of evil which has occurred since 1917 in all aspects of life. The world is rushing to embrace and enthrone Antichrist in a way that was not possible before. Instead of the visible manifestation of the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church on earth, we see warring jurisdictions outstripping each other in worldliness, the selling out of the soul of the Church through Surgeonism and the ecumenical movement. In the world today, examples of godlessness abound: nuclear weapons, dangerous genetics experiments, pollution, wars, famines, and terrible new diseases. In the realm of morality, shameless excesses are committed. Millions of unborn children are slaughtered each year. Perversity has become an accepted choice. Drug use is killing off young people who are listening to so-called music with satanic overtones. And one could go on. We're living in the last times, taught Father Seraphim Rose. Antichrist is close, and what happens in Russia and other countries like it is the normal experience of our times. Here in the West we're living in a fool's paradise which can and probably will soon be lost. Let's start to prepare, not by storing food or such outward things that some are already doing in America, but with the inward preparation of Orthodox Christians. And when the 1,000 years are finished, Satan shall be loosed from his prison, and shall go out to seduce the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, and shall draw them to battle, whose number is as the sand of the sea. This then is his purpose in seducing them, to draw them to this battle. For even before this he was wont to use as many and various seductions as he could continue. And the words he shall go out mean, he shall burst forth from lurking hatred into open persecution. For this persecution, occurring while the final judgment is imminent, shall be the last which shall be endured by the Holy Church throughout the world, the whole city of Christ being assailed by the whole city of the devil, as each exists on earth. For these nations which he names Gog and Magog are not to be understood as some barbarous nations in some part of the world, whether the Gedi and Massageti, as some conclude from the initial letters, or some other foreign nations not under the Roman government. For John marks that they are spread over the whole earth, when he says, the nations which are in the four corners of the earth. And he added that these are Gog and Magog. The meaning of these names we find to be Gog, a roof, Magog, from a roof, a house, as it were, and he who comes out of the house. They are therefore the nations in which we found that the devil was shut up as in an abyss, and the devil himself coming out from them and going forth, so that they are the roof, he from the roof. Or if we refer both words to the nations, not one to them and one to the devil, then they are both the roof, because in them the old enemy is at present shut up, and as it were roofed in, and they shall be from the roof when they break forth from concealed to open hatred. The words, and they went up on the breadth of the earth, and encompassed the camp of the saints and the beloved city, do not mean that they have come, or shall come, to one place, as if the camp of the saints and the beloved city should be in some one place. For this camp is nothing else than the church of Christ extending over the whole world, and consequently wherever the church shall be. And it shall be in all nations, as is signified by the breadth of the earth. There also shall be the camp of the saints and the beloved city, and there it shall be encompassed by the savage persecution of all its enemies, for they too shall exist along with it in all nations. That is, it shall be straitened, and hard-pressed, and shut up in the straits of tribulation, but shall not desert its military duty, which is signified by the word camp.